Hello and welcome back to the channel. My deepest gratitude goes to the sponsors of this channel, because it is only you that make this even possible. Without your generosity, without your kindness, we wouldn't be making these videos. So thank you. Today we'll talk about one of the weird, characteristic Mediterranean rigs. Or perhaps I should say vessels, because dividing types of vessels by rig is really a fairly modern idea. In the past it was a combination, it wasn't just the rig, it was the hull also that signified what type of a vessel it is. Today we'll talk about the polaka. And this is an interesting term, because as with everything else, it changes meaning over the centuries. By the second half of the 19th century, it simply meant a normal vessel with masts made of single trees and sliding up and down without cross trees, without trestle trees, obviously fairly small vessels. It was characteristic for the Adriatic, Aegean, that backward corner of the world. But initially, the term actually meant something different. We have a number of sources. We have models of polakas even surviving from the 18th century in Musée de la Marine, although as of last summer, meaning 2025, they were not on display. Many of the models that used to be on display, they have disappeared now. And sounds of the ocean have been substituted, and huge screens of waves breaking, and all the usual circus that associates with modern maritime museums. Although, again, I'll repeat, Musée de la Marine still is better and more informative than, unfortunately, Greenwich and the Royal Maritime Museum. Returning to the vessel, we do have quite a few sources actually on them, including, of course, the monumental 4-volume set by Edmund Dummer, the French admiral, who collected drawings in the final tail-end years of the 19th century and into the early 20th. But we have even earlier information. For example, and I think I have already quoted this source in previous iterations on the channel, the English master shipwright Edmund Dummer took a cruise around essentially a spying or intelligence gathering expedition around the Mediterranean in the early 1680s. In around 1684, he drew, painted and described what he had seen, especially for His Majesty King Charles II. And in that book, which is currently held in the British Library, and which I found extremely useful for, well, Eastern Mediterranean types of vessels and Ottoman vessels, etc. But in that book, he illustrates the type, and he even gives a brief description and provides a set of lines. Now, of course, the question is, how much can we trust Edmund Dummer on this? As I mentioned, he was a professional shipwright. He was an outstanding artist. Keep in mind, this is those old, horrible, old-fashioned times when artists actually were supposed to draw something that you can recognize. And crushing a piece of paper was not considered an art form, nor was it being drunk and spilling paint on canvases considered art form either. So, most unfortunately for his reputation as an artist, you actually can recognize what he's drawing, and you can see details. Equally unfortunately, they're not always consistent from drawing to drawing, so you have to be careful about this. To wit, another vessel that perhaps we will be talking about in another video, the Saik. There are some inconsistencies in the depictions of the Saik. I'll return to that, as I said, perhaps in another video. But as far as the polaka, he groups together 3 different types: a polaka, the bark, and the setia, or what nowadays we might call settee. And in his description, he says that the three types are really all the same. They differ slightly in dimensions, and the only difference in the rig between them is that the polaka, being the larger, always had a square-rigged mainmast. In half shape, the polaka really looks like any of the other lateen-rigged vessels. It has the inevitable spur forward, the pronounced curvature and cut off of the bulwarks in the bow area. It doesn't have a true bowsprit, it is a spur. It has the raised quarterdeck behind. So you can see the relationship to tartans, even to galleys, except that the proportions are different. But what is particularly interesting about it is that he points out that the bark and the polaka are very similar. The bark, however, always, quote unquote, except in strong storms, carries lateen sails on all three masts. So does the SYSTER, by the way. And he says, otherwise, the lines are very similar to the three vessels. The difference is being that the bark is up to about 80 tons, while the polaka is usually between 80 and 140 tons. He, most unfortunately, does not specify what is the burden. I almost made the mistake of saying displacement, but the burden of the SYSTER. Presumably it is more or less identical to that of the polaka. The polaka is the one that differs from the other two vessels in the fact that it has a large, huge lateen on the foremast, which is slightly raking forward. On the main mast, it has a square course and square topsail. And on the mizzen mast, it has again a small lateen or smaller lateen sail. As far as the handling and the standing rigging, this is where I have a problem. The foremast, he has depicted it with lateen sail set up on a run, or at the very least broad reach, but the standing rigging of the mast is still set in place. She has no topmasts there. She has no topmast on the mizzen mast either, obviously has no topsails, but on the main mast, which is normally rigged just like on any other vessel, except the topmast, which is a separate tree, does not have shrouds. She continues upwards, she is part of the lower mast, and she has a stay, but she does not have shrouds. Something that he shows for other Mediterranean types, for example, the Saik, and specifically comments on this. In this case, he doesn't comment, but it is quite clear from the illustration that this is the case. As far as the usages, specifically the polaka, he claims to be characteristic of the port of Marseille on the southern coast of France. And it was used extensively in the wine trade with Italy. Genoa particularly was importing French wine, mostly in pulakas. But the truth of the matter is that pulakas were also used in the Adriatic. We have references from the Adriatic, we have references from Aegean, essentially from the Ottoman territorial waters. He being Dummer, claims that they were characteristic for Marseille, therefore the Western Mediterranean, while the bark and the SYSTER were also characteristic for pretty much the entire Mediterranean world, that includes the Levant. For whatever that is worth, in the Blackwell Galley's logbooks, the surgeon of the ship, it was recently published by the Hecklud Society, he describes his voyages, and the ship was retained for a lengthy period, months on end, in Istanbul to clarify privateering action against the French SYSTER. And almost every day or every other day, the surgeon records the arrival of SYSTERs into Izmir, Smyrna at the time, but I do not remember any polakas. He mentions jimbars, he mentions saik, he mentions galleys, he mentions many other types of vessels, but most of all, the most frequently mentioned vessel is the setia. So with this, by the 18th century, we see the polaka adding a jib forward of the lateen. We see the mizzen being converted to a spanker and adding a square topsail. And of course, by the later 19th century, it is essentially any type of vessel. More often than not, they would be brig-rigged, but the only difference is that they are one single mast without. It will be a pole mast that includes the topmast, the topgallant into the same tree. That, of course, limits the size of how large such a vessel can be. With this, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you a most wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so very, very, very much to the sponsors. I truly appreciate it. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye.